Good morning once again. I know we were interrupted before, but basically I want to talk to you today about dining room tables. I know a lot of you sometime in the future will buy a dining room table and try to save a little bit of money and give you the right questions to ask when you're going to look for a dining room table. Why is this information important, you might ask? Because you don't want to waste your money on something that's not going to suit your needs. The overall goal of any salesperson is to find the ultimate product for the person. Satisfy every want and need so they end up in a satisfied purchase and they come back later and refer you to other people. One-time customers, yeah, it might be great off the bank, but it's not sustainable. It's a lot easier to create a happy customer, just listen to their wants and needs. So basically this is just going to give you the basic information, so even if you get a crappy salesperson, you'll know what to look for so you're satisfied with your purchase. I want to start in with the basic chair designs and builds. Basically, essentially for dining room tables, you'll have two different chair types. You'll have basically your normal dining height, which is probably in everybody's mom and pop's room. Then you'll have your counter height, or sometimes called bar stool, gathering height. They call them a couple different things. The least common one is pub height, just because most people don't use a pub height for their table, so I didn't even bother to cover it in this topic. Alright, so basically some key questions to ask about the chairs. One, you want to know if it's solid wood. A lot of places will consider real wood, and they'll call it, oh, it's real wood, not solid wood. The basic difference between solid wood and real wood is solid wood can be particle board. Because it is made of real wood, it's sawdust and glue. So basically you can call it as real wood and then try to sell it off as something same as something else. And even be careful with some of the real woods, because if you start getting into the real woods, sometimes they consider an MDF, which is kind of like a particle board on steroids, real wood. But you want to try to get into a actual solid piece of wood. It's just going to last a lot longer and take a lot more abuse for you. When you start getting into assembly, most places charge to assemble it. And it can be a good thing, even if you have to pay the extra $2.50 a chair to assemble it, because if they level it and they glue it, glue is a big part of chairs. If they use wood glue, it's going to tend to, I don't know if anyone's ever had a chair before that wobbled, but that's because they use regular wood glue, which has water in it, expands and contracts. Whereas if they use a two-part epoxy, you're never going to get the wobbles. And most good chair places, ask them, they'll level their chairs before they send them out to you. So that's another big thing. You don't get it home and it's not rocking on you. You want to know if it's wedged. A lot of people like the hoop back look, the classic, mom and pop had an oak chair. And underneath, when they hydraulically press those, they'll put wedges in to keep those hoops from ever popping up anymore. I don't know if anyone's ever had loose spindles and stuff before, but if you do, that's because it wasn't wedged and screwed. So those are a couple big things. The other thing you want to know, if you're buying fabric chairs, you want to know if it's Scotch-guarded. Is it a microfiber? Microfiber basically is kind of like a fake suede, and it cleans up a lot easier with water because liquids can't absorb into it basically. It can be stained, but it's less likely to. And then Scotch-guard, most people don't bring it up. A lot of cheaper companies won't do it. But the Scotch-guard just basically helps, so if you do drop something out and you buy a lighter fabric, it's going to roll off, and as long as you clean it up right away, you're not going to have a problem. And then with leather, a lot of people like to try to sell the Enduro, which is like a leather vinyl mix or just a vinyl by itself. You want to know, is that real leather or not? Because when you're comparing two chairs together, the real leather is going to hold up a lot longer for you. Then you start getting into warranties. Any reputable manufacturer will give you a 1-year standard manufacturer's warranty. The 1-year manufacturer's warranty guarantees you from defects. That's it. If you want to ask your salesperson about who they go through for their warranty information, kind of look it up for yourself before you buy to see how well they stand behind their warranties, and that, especially if you're going to buy counter height. The most common thing I've ever seen with counter height stool is people break stretchers. These little bars right here across the bottom, people like to sit with their feet on top of them. They like to get up from those. You want to make sure those are glued and screwed, and you want some kind of warranty with that, so when someone snaps a chair, you're not out $168 to buy a new chair. Because chairs are expensive. We're going to basic tables from there. First thing with tables, you want to figure out what height's going to be best for you. If you have real little kids, I don't suggest the gathering heights or counter heights. They're the same thing. Some people call them gathering, some people call them counter. Yes, it's nice they can't reach on top of it, but with the counter height or gathering height, you come taller stools, kids climb up on them, fall over, and they're more likely to get hurt. So that's one of the big reasons I don't suggest those for every day. And then the other size, of course you have your normal dining height is the other common one. And then the other big decision is, do you want leaves in it? Do you want it to be able to expand and contract? How many people do you usually set, and how many people do you need to set? So when you're going into that, you want to kind of figure out then, do you have room to store a leaf? Do you just want a solid leaf that you can put in a closet somewhere? Do you have the space for that? Or would you like a butterfly leaf that folds in half and goes down inside the table? So you have quite a different varieties, and the leaves part is all pretty much preference. But it's just something to be aware of, that there's a lot of different leaves out there. When you start going into dining tables, you want to look for a lot of the same things, like what's it made out of? Is it made out of real wood, or is it made out of particle board? Is it plastic? There's a lot of different things they make tables out of. Or if you're buying a marble table, is it real marble? You want to know stuff like that. Pick it up, feel it. Is it heavy? Another one big thing you want to get into is what kind of glide system. There's a lot of different glide systems, and that's going to change the price depending on which tables you look at. If it's something you commonly do, take in and out the leaf, you want to get into a gear glide system, which basically has these two little gears in it so one person can open and shut it. Or even better, into a pulley system where one person can open it with a single finger. But if it's something, we do it around just a holiday, a wood-on-wood glide system works fine, the classic, two people want in, pull, and it's open. And then you also want to know into veneers. A lot of people get scared when they hear the word veneer and think it's junk. Veneers are great on certain parts, and there's just a difference depending on what you're going to do with it. If you're more likely to leave glasses and stuff on your table overnight, you want a solid wood table, because that, yes, it's still going to get rings, it's still going to smell, but you can refinish it. If you're going to get into something that you're just worried about scratches and that, then the veneer is actually better because it's less likely to warp and cut, especially if you don't take care of your table, if you don't constantly polish it. You want to get into a veneer because it's less likely to have problems later on. And then you also want to know if the veneer is real wood, so it can be refinished, or is it a paper or plastic veneer? That'll change greatly the value of the table. And then what kind of finishes it have? There's quite a few different finishes. The most common is nitrocellulose, which is a very thin layer of basically kind of like a polyurethane, but like nothing. Or you can go up to like a polyurethane finish, which is going to cost you about 3 times as much on a table, but that's going to look the same for about 10 years. And of course you want to look at the warranties on the tables, because warranty, basically with the table, you want to know what the warranty is, because when you, if you happen to break something on it or falls apart, you want to know they want to stand behind it. And once again, like I said, you want to check out their extended warranty program for any accidental damage and research it to see how good they are with picking up on it. Basically, that's all I have to say about dining room tables. If you have any other questions, everyone has my email here. I can answer those for you. All the pictures were provided by FurnitureRow.com. Thanks.